So just about 3 days ago, Tucker Carlson was on Theo Vaughn's show talking about a variety of subjects, but the subject of Charlie Kirk came up. And Tucker dropped a few bombshells, verifying a couple of claims that Candace Owens has made that people have thought were absolutely insane. One of them being Egyptian planes following Erika Kirk. So if you've been following along with Candace Owens and her investigation, it's gotten it's gone kind of wild. It's gone from, we were looking at Israel and Egyptian planes, and now it's gone to France, and maybe the Macron's trying to kill her and trying to kill Charlie Kirk. It's gone in definitely a lot of interesting directions. But Tucker Carlson does verify a couple of facts from Candace Owens' investigation. Here he is.
Who was Charlie Kirk?
Yep.
Oh,
yep.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I love his wife and know his wife well. And so I feel emotional about it. So, I just haven't wanted everything to do with it. But I will say a couple of things. I don't understand the official story at all.
Of his assassination,
I don't understand it. And I want to make sure that there is a truly rigorous and honest federal investigation of it. And I'm definitely concerned about that. A. B, I think that I don't know many of the details, but I know that recently Candace said that Egyptian registered aircraft were following Erika Kirk, Charlie's widow, around for a number of years in different places in the world. That's one of the weirdest things I've ever heard, and I just want to say that is factually true. That's true. So that's like the one data point that I happen to know is true.
Okay, let's look at those planes briefly here. So this is one of the planes that Candace Owens has been claiming that there's been two Egyptian planes that have been following Erika Kirk, one of them being the yellow SUBTT and the blue SUBND. So this is the BND. This is registered to the Egyptian government, and so is this one, which is very bizarre. And these two planes, you could track them online. I mean, you could use various flight trackers and track them, and they are registered to the Egyptian government. And it doesn't necessarily mean that the Egyptian government is actually using these planes and the Egyptians were the ones following Erika Kirk around. It could have been, Egypt is, for one, the second largest recipient of funds, aid from the United States. And that is because Israel has asked us to do that. So Israel has been the number one recipient of funds. Egypt is the second largest recipient of funds, and that is at the behest of Israel in order to keep the Egyptians in line, to ensure that there aren't wars between Egyptians and Israel, to keep Egypt basically on a leash. The United States gives them a ton of money so that the Israelis feel safe and happy. That's one of the problems that many of us have with the nation-building project of Israel, is that it's sucking up our resources, and we're doing things like giving the Egyptians a bunch of money for no real good reason. Nothing that benefits the United States anyway. So it is possible that these planes registered to the Egyptian government are used by others. It could be used by intel organizations, used by maybe other governments, because Egypt is working with various different partners. Okay, so that being said, let's continue on with, let me see if I can get back to where we were. Unfortunately, kind of reset. Okay, here we go.
Data point that I happen to know is true. What does that mean? I have literally no idea. I can't even guess, but that's very, very strange.
And what is Egyptian? It could mean aircrafts from Egypt. Who knows?
I think that they were registered in Egypt.
Got it.
And but that fact is true. So and it also her claim that, there were kind of a disproportionately large number of foreign registered cell phones at the event. That's also true. So what does that add up to? I don't know, but it means that, the FBI has a moral and legal obligation to look in every direction and to be open-minded, as you would in any investigation, in journalism, in science. It's all the same process. I don't know the answer, and I'm going to sift through everything as open-mindedly as I can, as honestly as I can, to get to what the truth is. That's science, that's law enforcement, that's journalism. It's all the same. That's justice. And I just want to make sure that is happening, and I just don't have a ton of confidence in the FBI or the men who run it. And I'm not saying that out of ignorance at all.
That's a scary part too.
What Candace is saying is clearly causing a lot of turmoil. Is it true or not? I can't assess it. I'm not the FBI. I'm a freaking podcaster, but I do know how the system works, and it's really simple. The FBI has this case, and of course the state of Utah. It's their job to not only find out what happened, but present it to the public in a way that restores some confidence that you can have justice in this country, that we have functioning law enforcement. I don't have confidence in that because there's a lot of evidence that we don't have that. So restore confidence by being honest and telling a story that makes sense. So why, and if they don't do that, and they haven't done that, they have not done that, how can you be mad at Candace Owens or anyone else for filling a vacuum that they left?
Yeah.
Well, Candace is okay. No. The people with the authority are the ones responsible, and they're the ones who should be held responsible when there's a failure. Not some podcaster, not me, not you, not Candace, the people whose job it is. And their default assumption was we acted alone. Really? Why do you think that? What about life suggests that people typically act alone? When was the last time you acted alone in anything? I don't go, right? So A. B, we know that people had foreknowledge of this because they posted about it on X and said Charlie Kirk is going to be killed on this date, and he was.
Is that true?
Yes, it's true.
But were they just guessing? Was it a guessing thing where every day they posted that?
Maybe. Have those people been interviewed? Have they been hauled into FBI HQ and had a long conversation with how they knew that? Let's get really specific. Why did you post that? Who have you talked to? If I were doing this investigation, because I spent my whole life doing non-criminal investigations called journalism, what do we know is true? How do we find out? Call everybody, be open-minded. It's it's the same process. If I was doing this investigation, they would be at the very top of the list. We know, because we've got public postings on Twitter that people know, just like on 9/11. We know people bet against American Airlines and the banks that were in the World Trade Centers. They shorted those stocks. Those people clearly had foreknowledge of 9/11. Who were those people? We still don't know. So I would start there.
But so you're saying that just the fact that there could possibly be some foreknowledge should be investigated?
Well, there was foreknowledge because I saw the tweets. And so I saw at least two that said, everything's going to change when Charlie Kirk gets to the college in Utah.
Okay.
So those people, I'm not saying they're part of a conspiracy, but there's evidence that they had foreknowledge. Okay. So that's where you begin. And then I could go on. Tell me how this guy who seemed normal became a radical trans furry murderer. It's not enough to tell me, trans. I'm not pro-trans, by the way.
But was that the guy or his boyfriend?
Well, exactly right. Tell me how this guy became so radicalized that he murdered a stranger. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm saying I want an explanation for how it happened. Why wouldn't I?
I agree.
But why do people like Candace so much? She's an amazing broadcaster, yes, because they sense in her, she might be wrong. Is she lying to me? Not on purpose. They sense the purity of her intent. That's the truth. And I can say, as someone who's dealt with government officials my whole life, I'm not vouching for everything Candace claims. I don't even know a lot of what she claims because I'm working on other stuff, and it makes me sad also. But the point is, do I trust Candace more than I trust your average DOJ official? Are you joking? It's not even close, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at the tweets that he's talking about. So there are people that had foreknowledge of what was going on with Charlie Kirk. We've all learned the hard way that when tech companies say they care about privacy, they really don't. Alexa listens to your conversations, Meta tracks everything you click, and now even AI platforms are collecting your chats, your thoughts, your business ideas, your private questions, all stored and analyzed on their servers. AI can be incredibly powerful, but we shouldn't have to hand over our digital diary just to use it. And that's why I've switched to Venice.ai, a privacy-first, open-source AI platform that runs entirely in your browser. No spying, no tracking, no censorship. Your messages are encrypted and your conversation history stays with you, not them. With the Venice Pro plan, you can upload PDFs for instant summaries, generate images without restrictions, and even tweak how the AI talks to you by editing the system prompt. Here's an example. So I asked the same question both to ChatGPT and to Venice AI. One gave me the sanitized approved response, and the other gave me the truth. So if you want to use AI without giving away your most personal data and also getting the truth from AI, go to venice.ai/Kim, use code Kim for 20% off a pro plan. That is venice.ai/Kim, code Kim. Protect your privacy while you still can. This one right here says, funny if someone like Charlie Kirk got shot on September 10th, LMAO. And this was posted September 3rd. This person this is an image that this person is saying Donald Trump, December 14th. And then this person said, it'd be funny if somebody like Charlie Kirk got shot on September 10th, LMAO. And that was posted on September 3rd. Here is another image. This one here saying, oh, sorry. Maybe I got these mixed up here. Okay. No, I got those mixed up. I'm sorry. I can't see. It's too small and my eyes are not great. Going back to this one. This one was posted from an account from the name Omar, and it's Omar's the name, and then Nadra Galvez or something is the actual @ for their handle. It says Charlie Kirk is coming to my college tomorrow. I really hope someone evaporates him literally, and that was on September 9th. And on September 9th, he also said, let's just say something big will happen tomorrow. And the important thing I want to point out on that is his name's Omar on that one. So you've got Egyptian planes that are following Erika Kirk. The 2 Egyptian planes that Candace has talked about were in Provo, Utah. One of them took off the morning that Charlie Kirk was killed. And now you've got these premonition tweets that are put out by guys named Omar. Or this one here. This is Meet Skylar Webster. Skylar's a radical. Actually, let's go to the actual image here. Yeah, this is the image that matters here. It says, well, this is from Osamu bin Tezuka. Again, a name like Osamu bin Tezuka. And this was posted September 10th, saying and retweeting himself, saying, you guys, I have something big coming soon. Just be sure to check the news. You'll know when you see it. And saying that that's what he was referring to was Charlie Kirk being killed. Here's another one. This one is, it would be funny if somebody like Charlie Kirk got shot on September 10th, LMAO, and that was September 3rd. And this other one here saying September 10th will be a very interesting day. So people seem to have foreknowledge. This is the only 4 that we could find right now. A lot of them have been scrubbed from the internet. But the 2 important ones that I wanted to show you there are there. And that's the one from Omar and Osamu. And now they're trying to change, and there's Egyptian planes that just happen to be there. But then they eventually flip the script and say, oh, it was just these transferees. It's like they were looking for which narrative is the public going to buy? Who are they more upset with? Who are they more afraid of? For a while, they thought, well, you guys are all afraid of terrorists from the Middle East. So let's get an Osamu and an Omar and some Egyptian planes there. But, oh, wait, no, you guys are actually more incensed by trans furries who are shooting up schools. So then let's make this shooter a trans furry. So it's, these are things that should be investigated. Kash Patel goes on Megyn Kelly's show and says, nope, it was absolutely Tyler Robinson. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here.
Let me start with this, the most obvious. Do you believe that we have the proper suspect in custody? Do you believe that Tyler Robinson is, in fact, the man who killed Charlie Kirk?
Yes.
Do you believe he acted with the help of anyone else?
This investigation is being led by the Utah state authorities because it is a murder investigation. So the FBI is a supporting role in the investigative process. And so what we're doing is the same thing we did in the pipe bomb investigation. The investigation is ongoing for us. If there's any new leads or tips, we are exhausting them with search warrants and legal process. But at the same time, we are working with the prosecutors in Utah to make sure we don't screw up their investigation. Because again, the worst outcome would be if the guy that killed Charlie Kirk walks out of a United States courtroom in the state of Utah. And so it's a delicate balance again, but there is no way this FBI is going to stop that investigation until it reaches its all-conclusive endpoint.
Do you believe any foreign government had a role in his assassination?
At this time, the FBI doesn't have credible information to connect any foreign governments to it. But as I said, we are continuing to take investigative leads. We're not done. Just because we arrest someone, just like in the pipe bomber case, we don't just say, okay, we're done, on to the next. The investigative team continues to work with the Utah authorities, and they're deriving their own leads and coming back to us and say, hey, can you look at this piece of information? Can we get a search warrant on this account? What about this individual who is located in X, Y, or Z? We're tracking all that down.
Do you have any credible reason to believe that anyone connected with the Turning Point organization had anything to do with Charlie's death?
Zero.
Okay. So there he is just saying, nope, we got the guy. Nothing else to see here. We don't have any other credible leads. There's been plenty of credible leads, and there's been plenty of holes in their current theory. But yet they're saying, yep, we got the guy. Nothing else to see here. Cash also says, Meghan actually presses him on the death threats against Candace Owens, and he says that they're looking into it. But Candace then says, no, you're not. This is what he says.
There's been an allegation made by prominent podcaster Candace Owens that she's received a death threat, a credible death threat from the French, that a threat has been made on her life, and that the French, she's been told, also may have had a role in Charlie's assassination. Have you looked into either of those? Do you believe she's received a credible death threat from the French, or that the French had something potentially to do with Charlie's death?
Any American that receives a death threat from overseas or anywhere in America is going to be fully investigated. So we're not going to turn our eye away from that investigation or any others. If there's anything to it, this FBI will respond to it.
Okay, but so far, no.
So we are just looking at everything that comes in. We're not going to reject any piece of information. If someone feels that their life is being threatened, we are, of course, looking at it.
Well, Candace says otherwise. She says, actually, you haven't contacted me. Meghan, after that, by the way, does say, yeah, and I can verify that because I've had death threats and you guys have been really great about stepping up and investigating those. But apparently Candace Owens is not getting that same treatment.
Okay, but so far, no.
So we are just looking at everything that comes in. We're not going to reject any piece of information. If someone feels that their life is being threatened, we are, of course, looking at it.
Do you want to involve me in you looking at it? Because actually, it kind of left me on red. There has been no communication with the FBI. You are aware right there. Megyn Kelly is asking you directly about it, so you can't pretend you didn't receive it. And you are choosing to skip over. He completely skips over the part about me having asserted, which Megyn asks him directly, was France involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination? He doesn't even address that. Skips right over it and instead says, if any American has a threat, that's what we're here for. And she's like, okay, but was there actually a threat on if anybody, let's just kind of state it more broadly, we will take it seriously. Well, you're not doing that, Kash Patel. And I find it very odd that I said that I had proof that the government of France was involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination, that they were on the ground that day. And you have not reached out to me. In this very interview that you are asserting that you are certain that Tyler Robinson is the only person involved, how can you be certain if you are not reaching out to people that claim to have verifiable evidence which could dispute that narrative? Does it seem to you like he's telling the truth there? Does it seem to you like he's being open and he's being transparent? Or does it seem like he's intentionally being cagey because he knows that I am telling the truth, despite the many millions of dollars that is being spent on this Operation Mockingbird 2.0 campaign? Kash Patel knows that I am telling the truth.
Yeah. Okay. Erika Kirk steps in on this. I mean, it is, just a quick comment on that. It is odd that, Candace is saying they haven't even contacted me. They're not looking into any of these leads. I've got all this evidence and information, and they're not collecting any of it. I don't know how that works. I don't know if you are an amateur investigator or a journalist, and I'm not really sure what the protocol is on, does the FBI need to contact her, or do they just need to watch the show? And then they say, oh, we've got some leads here. Let's look into those. I'm not really sure. Maybe they just need to watch the show and then they start to investigate that. But it seems like maybe if she had evidence, is she also sending it into the FBI in addition, and they're just not responding to her, but they're collecting the evidence? These are things that, it'd be good to get an answer on that. Erika Kirk says, I want everybody to just stop this. And basically she calls out Candace Owens for making a ton of money on the investigation to her husband's death. And she basically says she's fed up and doesn't want any more of this. I guess she doesn't want an investigation into her husband's death.
Come after me, call me names, I don't care. Call me what you want, go down that rabbit hole, whatever. But when you go after my family, my Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk Show family, when you go after the people that I love, and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode, going after the people that I love because somehow they're in on this, no.
I have to say it. I've never seen you like this.
No, this is righteous anger because this is not okay. It's not healthy. This is a mind virus. Yes, I believe in our judicial system. I do.
I'm
We have
sorry,
a
was
hell
that
of
a
a team.
Freudian slip? I just had to
Working
point
on this,
that out.
excuse my French. But this is not okay.
So you want to put these people back in the box where they've been creeping from?
I don't care what box you're in. But just know that your words are very powerful, and we are human. My team are not machines and they're not robots. They are human. We have more death threats on our team and our side than I have ever seen. I have kidnapping threats. I have, you name it, we have it. And my poor team is exhausted. And every time they bring this back up, what are we supposed to do? Relive that trauma all over again? They watched my husband get murdered. I have no idea how I would have reacted if I was there that day. And thank the good Lord that I did not have to see that happen. But my team, they are rocked to the core. So why every single day do they have to be dragged through the mud, analyzed, hyper-analyzed?
You know,
Sit in a corner and cry and be in fetal position. This is a duty to my husband, and it's an absolute honor, and I will never back down. And so my message to them is to stop. To stop.
and that's what we will say here on Outnumbered 2.
Stop investigating the death of my husband. Stop investigating. I hate to break it to her and to everybody at Turning Point, but when somebody is killed, usually the people closest to them are the first suspects. When a wife is killed, the first suspect is the husband. We don't sit there and say, oh, they're grieving. It's not right for us to point the finger at them. Oh, no, that would be so wrong. Let's not investigate him because he's a grieving widow. You know, we can't do that. That would be immoral. That would be terrible. We don't look at the best friends of the husband and say, or the wife that was killed and say, oh, it couldn't have been any of them. No, none of the coworkers, none of the friends. They're all grieving. They loved her. There's just no way. No, I'm sorry. All of these people are suspects. That's who is first in line. The people that are more likely to want to kill you, the people who know you. So they're all suspects. They should all expect to be suspects. It's terrible. I get it, especially if you are innocent and somebody you love has been killed and now you're being investigated. That's horrible. I understand that. But it is kind of, unfortunately, you know, you are the first to be looked at. And I think it's fair enough as hard as it seems to do, but Erika Kirk, I think, would have to be a suspect in her own husband's death. You always have to suspect the spouses. You have to suspect the friends. You have to suspect the business partners. You have to suspect all of these people. Is the FBI suspecting any of them? It doesn't seem like it. They think they've got their guy, even though there's a million plot holes in the story that they've been feeding us. So you've got amateur investigators, aka journalists, who are out there actually doing the job of the FBI, asking questions, and then you've got people that are pressuring to just stop investigating, stop doing this. That in and of itself seems pretty suspicious and sketchy. You know, instead you should say, look, I get it. I want to find out exactly what happened too. I loved him. So, let's look at anybody and everybody. And you cannot exclude your very closest friends just because they're your closest friends. Because people will kill their own children, their own parents, their own spouses. And so you can't just say, well, no, they loved him, and so there's no way they could have done that. They do it every day. Tucker Carlson did also come out and say that that he has been getting, ever since he appeared on Theo Von's show, that he has been getting people thinking that he's blaming the FBI or the FBI is covering it up. And Tucker came out today and said, no, I'm not blaming the FBI. I'm not telling them that I'm not saying that they're behind the cover up or that they're involved in some way. I'm just saying that they're the government and the government is incompetent, or maybe the government is covering things up and you just can't trust them. And so it is what it is. But yeah, I don't understand the narrative right now of just trust the government, but that has been coming out of the right for some time now, since Charlie Kirk's death, since Epstein. It's just trust the government. And yeah, we are not doing ourselves any favors by trusting the government narrative, especially when it's so obviously complete Swiss cheese. Thank you for watching this clip from the full Kim Iverson Show, which you can watch Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific at KimIversonShow.com. See you there.